Yeah, so the accents were not really what I expected them to be. You know, a lot of times when you think of England, you kind of think of like the proper, oh, would you like a cup of tea, sir? Like type of accent. But when I got into England, I realized that it was actually not quite like that. The accent is different indeed, and it does sound British, but not quite as posh, specifically up in the Manchester areas. So the first place I went and served at was Liverpool. And Liverpool is kind of known throughout England for their accent. They call it the Scouser accent. And it's kind of like a little bit higher. It's like, I'm from Liverpool, you're light, mate. It's kind of like a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, a little bit higher up. And so when I was serving there, it kind of, I always had to be like, wait, what did you just say to me? It took me a little bit of time to get used to it. And one of the things that took me a little bit of time to get used to as well is a common greeting that people have in England is just, oh, you all right? Like, you all right, mate? And so I was like, yeah, I'm all right. Does something seem like it's wrong? But, that's kind of a common way that they greet each other. It's just, oh, you all right? You all right? And so I learned quickly to say, yeah, I'm all right. You all right? Just as kind of a common, like, yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing? That's kind of the equivalent of us saying, oh, how are you? To someone that we haven't seen for a while. The other parts of England don't really have quite the same accent as Liverpool does. When you go up north, it's called the Cumbrian accent. It's like a little bit thicker, and you almost have like some more Scottish influence, especially as you start getting up towards the border. And then Manchester's like a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. Like, I'm from Manchester, and so it's like a little bit kind of heavier. I don't really know how to explain it beyond that. But in terms of like learning the accent, you don't, as a missionary, you don't need to try to like learn the accent. You don't need to try to speak like everybody else. There will be a lot of phrases. There will be a lot of things with the language that will come, not like just words that you'll start using, and you'll always refer to going back to the flat instead of going back to your apartment. There'll be just a lot of lingo and a lot of words, such as the rubbish bin instead of the garbage can. There'll be just like a lot of words that will kind of come along as you're there. In terms of like specific preparation, I wouldn't worry too much. There's a lot of things that I just kind of picked up as I went along. And in terms of like picking up an English accent, I wouldn't say I really picked up an English accent. I think that there's a lot of ways, like the inflections and how they ask a question. For example, like in America, we ask, oh, are you going to the store? But in England, they'd ask, are you going to the store? Like they'd kind of have like a higher inflection at the end. And I picked up a lot of that on my mission just from always being around English people. And, I think you become a little bit more soft-spoken because Americans, coming from an English perspective, Americans are usually a little bit louder, a little bit kind of boisterous in public, whereas the English are a little bit more reserved and kind of a little bit more keep to themselves in public. And so the accent was fun. It's fun to learn a lot of new words and new lingo, but it's something that, definitely comes.